Hi, today we're going to talk about bundler and dependency management for Rails, although bundler is not specific to Rails, but we're going to talk about it in that context. Also, we're going to see an example of integrating a new gem into a simple application. So, as I said, bundler is strictly for dependency management, meaning the libraries that are required by your application to run. Of course, for a Rails application, that includes Rails. And you've probably seen this, the files for this around, so I'll give you a little quick tour of that. First off, here's Bundler, the Bundler website, and this is a great place to go. It's pretty concise, and you can see exactly what you need to do. So the where you're going to spend most of your time is about gem in the gem file section over here. So let's take a look here at our application. I'm going to use Vim, but you can use whatever you like to edit. And we're going to open our gem file here. A couple things to notice here. At the top, we have source. This is where it's going to fetch all of our gems from. And then we have this gem directive here. This is actually a Ruby file, so that's a method. It specifies the name of the gem and the version. And this locks Rails at version 4.0. You'll see down here on the SQLite gem, it just says SQLite, and it doesn't lock a version. So this would be at risk or at liberty, depending on which way you look at it, of updating to the latest version. SAS Rails down here has another symbol in the front of it. And before we get to that, let's go down here to Uglifier. Uglifier says anything greater than or equal to 1.3.0. And so what's the difference between the tilde in the operator there and the greater than or equal, just the standard inequalities that we're used to seeing? What this lets us do is it lets us upgrade SAS Rails for any of the patch versions. This is the major, minor, and patch. And if you're not familiar with that, if you look up semantic versioning at semver.org, it gives you a good description of what the different major, minor, and patch versions are. Definitely a good place to take a look and read that file. This will update, to 4.1, 4.2, 4.11, 4.34, however far they get. And these are all changes that won't affect the API. Which one you use is up to your discretion. Rails gives us some good defaults there, so stick with those and just be aware when you're upgrading. So upgrading, let's talk about upgrading right now. So when you first generate a Rails application, you'll see it'll run Rails new foo. When we run I guess we already have that. Foo. You'll see it'll run bundle install. And what it's doing right now is installing the dependencies. We're going to head back into our application that we're ready to work on. But it ran bundle install. And that, as you can see here, will just install all the dependencies. Usually, in reality, I always just run bundle I don't know, it's shorter, and it does a good job for me. You rarely have to run with any of these options, except your deployment scripts will often use them. So I just use bundle and bundle update, and I use bundle update in two ways. If it's been a little while and I'm ready for all of my dependencies to be updated, or just about ready to go to production with an application, and I want to update everything and test everything, then I'll run bundle update. And it'll fetch all of the latest versions. That's option one. It'll do it across everything. If I'm running into an issue, though, with a particular gem, some unexpected issues or upgrades or something like that, or I was reading online and found a bug report and said that, oh, you need to update to the latest, first off, I would check to make sure that I'm not restricting it in any way with that won't let me get the update with these operators in front of it for the version control. And if I'm good there, then I'll do bundle update SAS Rails. And what this will do is it'll update specifically that version and its dependencies underneath of it that are required by it. And there are really no updates to be grabbed there, so we're good. The other thing you can do that is oftentimes helpful is bundle show. And this will show you all of the gems that are required by your application. Sometimes you just need to know what's being used. The other, I think we can do rake. So if you do bundle show rake, it will show you exactly where that version is installed. And lastly, if you're thinking about forking something or modifying something or want to see how something works, providing that you have the editor environment variable set in your environment config files, your bash rc or your zsh files, then you can also do bundle open rake. And then this will pop me into Vim because that's what I have set. And I can actually go into here and I could modify the source code, run it, and make changes to it in my application locally. Now, that's kind of hackish, so just know that you're doing hackish things, and you will probably want to reset back to the beginning, uninstall it, and install it again so that you get a fresh version. Either that, or you need to actually fork it and actually use your version that you're actually working on. Sometimes it's nice though, or just to browse the source code. So yeah, please heed those warnings there. And that's really pretty much it for bundler. Actually, there are two more things that I want to touch on. We can go in here and we can also do. You'll see a couple of examples, like down here. If we wanted to use the debugger, we can also specify the groups. These are your environments in Rails, but we could also do it this way. Group, develop, and test, do, and and we can say gem test Rails. Well, there we go. Okay, so now we've added another gem here. We can do bundle, providing I get the name right. Yep. Using mini test Rails. Now, I already had it installed, so it just said using because it's already available locally. If this was the first time, then I would have to, then it would say installing the first time I ran bundle. So there's an example of running bundle. We've talked about groups. The other option that you can do is you can also specify. So if we do mini test Rails, and we go to his site here, we can pass that in there. We can, he doesn't have any tags or really branches, but if we wanted, we have tags. Tags, if we wanted to check out a specific version, 1.2 or something like that, we could do, let's check. You can specify quite a bit in here. You can specify the branch, the tag, or the reference. So we could do a reference, which is the SHA-1 hash, and it would be, blah, blah. You can specify either the full thing or just the beginning part. We can specify a tag, and we could do v012 1.2. We could do something like that, and then when we do bundle, it's going to actually fetch it from GitHub and use that for our dependency. So as you can see, it's quite flexible. So let's actually go ahead and add one, and this has an incompatible version, so we'll need to take that out. Looks like. Okay, so now we have, we're back to normal. Okay, we can close that out. So we're going to use a gem that I built for cleaning up views. It's a pretty simple paradigm, but I got tired of adding it to all of my Rails projects, so I built it into a gem. It's very, very simple. It doesn't even actually require Rails, even though it says it does. So you could use it for any templating thing, but it adds a couple fun extra helpers for Rails. So what we're going to do is go into our gem file here, up at the top, gem presents, and then we run back to our terminal and bundle. Okay, so now we have presents required. In order to use it, we need to restart Rails, and then we need to implement it. So the first place I usually go to look for implementation details is the GitHub page. So here's a little synopsis, and this is really as simple as it is. Class foo could be active record base or anything else. Class, and then we need to define this class ourself. And then here's an example of the usage. And another place that is always good if you're trying to figure out how to use a gem is to look at the tests. There's only really one very simple test in here, but it shows you what you need to define yourself, as well as the test and an example of usage. So this is another way to run the method. Let's just bounce back over here. Another place to look is RDoc. If you go to rdoc.info, you can search for a gem name, and here in the active view extension, you can see how we can actually use these in our view, which is what this was lending itself to. So, all that being said, let's get started on this. So the way I usually implement this is go to app and I already have it installed here. I reset to the head, but I didn't leave it. So I'll leave the typing as an exercise to you, or I could just redefine it right here, because actually it's not in the view already. So perfect. So we just do class, and I put it in an entry presenter. The naming of this is actually a convention, so you will want to name it according to the model. Otherwise you'll have to, or the class of the item, otherwise you will have to specify it manually. So, okay, so then we inherit from, as you can see, presents base presenter. One thing I should mention, that any folders or directories that you put in app will be automatically loaded by Rails. It's kind of a nice feature as of late. So that's why I put them in there. You could otherwise put this in lib as well, but then you have to manually specify which directories you want loaded. So in here then we just do presents, and we pass it a symbol, and I usually just default to the single lowercase version of the model name that we're using. And what we're going to do here, let's take a look at the application first. Now that we have the gem set up, we have this page, the index with the phone number, and presenters let us take out some logic that we would otherwise need to do in the view, and do it in another location so that it's logical in the view. So let's take a look at the view. App, views, entries, index. All right. So we're just looping through each of these, and the logic that we want here, though, or the presentation that we want, is number to phone. It's not too much, but if we started adding options here, area code true, we can have that highlight or parenthesize the area code. We can look at the other options here. You know, we could specify a delimiter. could specify, well, you get the point. It could go on and on and on of what this could be. So when we're looking at this, this kind of starts to get noisy. I have this little gray mark here which shows me 80 characters, and I don't want to go past that very often. And so we want to do something else to get rid of this. So the code we're going to want and use is present entry do, and this is a convention I do, just name it with an underscore, and then wrap this whole section where we want to use this just like that, except then instead of having to do all of this, delete that, we just do entry dot phone. Now when we run this, it's going to say sorry. So how do we make this, how do we define this? Well, we just go back to our entry file here, and we do def phone, and paste in that method there, and it happens to be the right thing here, but we just want to call entry.phone there. We can pass whatever options we want here. If we want a little performance boost, we can call H so it doesn't use method missing. And then everything should work. And so we have the exact formatting we want. We can call any view methods in here, passing it to the helper, which is which will give us access to the view context. And as you can see, it simplified this up quite a bit. We went from that to that. We went from 38 characters, or 238 characters, from 87 characters, and that's exactly what we want. We wanted to clean up the view. Hopefully that is a interesting tidbit for you, and you can find use for that in your own code. And that's pretty much it for integrating a gem. Just add it to your gem file, and we can specify versions here or not, and just run bundle. Do be aware that when you run bundle update, it will update all of your gems, and sometimes people think, oh, I just need to update when you do a pull from somebody else. But if you do that, you'll actually be changing the versions, and there's a chance that something could break in your application. So I only say that lastly as a review and a warning, that whenever you do a get pull origin master, which won't work because I have not pushed this anywhere, but if you do that and your teammate has changed dependencies, you'll get an error, and then all you need to do is run bundle or bundle install. There you go. Have a good day.